Welcome to Last Week in Warframe, a series where I keep you updated on the past week of Warframe, from announcements made by DE that don't necessarily warrant their own videos to community fan art, posts, and updates. So without further ado, let's go over these announcements and news from the 17th to the 23rd of February. So first off, as promised, we had the developer workshop for Melee 3.0 Phase 1. Now all of the following contents will be added into the game when the next mainline update does go live. So let's get into the information. Instant switching. This will allow players to shoot their primary or secondary weapon in an instant without delay, and vice versa. Clicking your left or right mouse button will enter you into your gun state, and using your melee strike while in the gun state will enter you into your melee mode. With this new system, there will be no more hold F to go straight into melee mode. Instead, you'll have to melee strike, and pressing F will simply switch you to your primary or secondary weapon and place you into your gun state. Now they have introduced a new feature of Combo Resume that will allow players to continue their combo after switching into your gun state and back, as long as it is within the window of opportunity. DE Rebecca did preview this addition in the livestream that aired alongside the release of the developer workshop. The updated variation of ground slams will also debut within Phase 1. The player will have the ability to start a ground slam at any point in the sky, and instead of the previous direct vertical slam, the attack will impact where the player's cursor was located. Melee's overall effects will also be updated alongside the aforementioned changes. A preview was provided within the workshop on top of the showcase by Rebecca on the aired stream. A point should also be highlighted that unique weapons such as the Cyanoid Heliocore and the Jack Katag won't have their unique effects on launch, and instead, for the time being, will share the generic new melee effects with the other weapons in the game. The weapon trail option will also be removed in Phase 1 for the time being. As for key binding with Phase 1, which is a major point of contention for pure melee players, well, blocking is now an automatic function that activates when facing enemies that are attacking you directly while in your melee mode. The F button, as previously stated, is now used to switch between your primary and secondary weapons. The left mouse button is to fire your weapon instantly and switch into the gun state. The right mouse button does the same, however instead of shooting, it is for aiming. As for channeling, the only change for the time being is to its bind. To activate channeling once the changes are implemented, players will have to use their Alt-Fire key while in the melee state. DE also commented on the new release structure for Melee 3.0, in that they will now release in small phases that contain changes to all weapons, so that, and I quote, players will be able to experience batches of changes across all weapons. What is good for a dagger may not be good for a hammer, and as each phase rolls out, the player will be able to compare and contrast. They also stated that keeping the status quo of the current Melee system, that being Melee 2.0, is not an option in order to truly make a new version in Melee 3.0. Continuing on with the post, they listed a number of small changes that will be coming, such as an updated reticle for Melee, dual wielding with a glaive and single secondaries continuing to exist, Archwing and Exalted weapons acquiring the switch mechanic in that you can use your gun when the Exalted ability is active. However, the energy drain will continue as stated by Rebecca and Steve on the livestream. The Exalted instant switch was showcased during that livestream with Exalted Blade, Valkyr's Hysteria, Titania's Dex Pixia, and Baruch's fourth ability. And AI reactions will also be updated alongside the aforementioned changes. Now, in a post-stream edit on the developer workshop, DE answered a few frequently asked questions. The first question was about the release date, and their response was in a couple of weeks, hopefully. The second question was how the combos will operate without a block button, and their response was that the block button within the combos will be replaced with an alternative, with Steve mentioning within the stream that the alternate fire button may be the replacement. As for weapons that require blocking to activate a special function, they will be changed to work with the new system. The example provided was with the Vapor Sidon's Radial Blind having charges, and the change is that it will activate upon aiming. Mods were also commented on in the frequently asked questions section, but another workshop will be posted later down the line as a preview for the future phases. As for comments that were made throughout the stream, Rebecca and Steve both commented that the two-handed katana will be arriving with Phase 1 of Melee 3.0 in the next mainline update, if the new 3.0 effects are completed in time for the weapon. For those wondering about blocking mods, they will continue to augment the new automatic blocking functionality, and the locking on feature for Melee will possibly see improvements in the next phase. There will also be around 3 phases of around 4 months, according to Steve's Twitter. And on top of that, a combo counter rework will be coming in future phases. Outside of Melee 3.0 news, Steve showcased new updated shadow and lighting tech on an updated Plains of Eidolon landscape that they have added new life to. However, he did comment that they are within very early stages of production, and of course, it's in a work-in-progress state. Next up was the developer workshop on the upcoming alert replacement, Nightwaves. Now, Nightwaves will be the replacement for the current alert system and will be arriving soon on PC. It will be a radio-based series that operates on a seasonal schedule, with the first season launching as the Wolf of Saturn 6. Unlike the current version of alerts, they will offer story-based content alongside challenges that players can complete to earn seasonal credits, with the first season's credits dubbed Wolf Credits. These credits can also be used to purchase the previously acquired alert rewards from the Nightwave offering storefront within the active season dates. Once the season ends, all Wolf credits will be converted into credits, as stated by Steve on the Melee 3.0 Phase 1 livestream. The following items will be included and cycled within the storefront: alert-based weapons, alert-based alternate helmets, and alert-based weapon skins, and aura mods and seasonal weapon skins, with the Wolf of Saturn 6 featuring desert camo skin blueprints. They also commented further into the post that new alternate helmets and items will make their way into the storefront as time goes on. Within the post, DE provided a rough overview of how the storefront will operate. The timer in the bottom will display how long players will have up until the next rotation of items appear within the storefront, and it will not be hourly based like the current system is, which will allow players of all time zones to acquire the rewards they are seeking. Now, unlike the aforementioned items, the new evergreen rewards will not be cycled out of the storefront. Those items include an Oricon Catalyst, Reactor, parts for the basic version of Vauban, and a bundle of 5 Nitane. There are also a number of rewards that currently appear within the current alert cycle that will no longer appear within the storefront. They are former blueprints, Kugrau eggs, Kavatic genetic codes, void traces, endo, resource rewards, nightmare mods, and Synthula. The reasoning behind their removal is on the screen and in the forum post linked below. Further into the post, they explain that the system will also feature a syndicate-like system where players can earn standing that ranks up their Nightwave tier. This standing will not have a daily limit and is only used to rank players up to earn exclusive, non-purchasable cosmetic items, inventory slots, and built forma. There will also be other rewards as stated pertaining to Nightwave and the Wolf of Saturn season. Outside of the rewards and the storefront, there will be featured elite weekly challenges that can range from completing mission types, performing actions and tasks, and other various activities. And if you are wondering about where arbitrations will be located from this point onward, well, they will stay active within the World State window, along with Barracuteer's Notice, Maru's weekly I-10 mission, Clem's support mission, tactical alerts, and Gift of the Lotus alerts. Now, outside of the post itself, DE Rebecca made 2 replies to a number of players' comments on the shared version of the workshop on Reddit. If you wish to read both posts, you can do so by the link in the description or by the screenshots on screen, but due to a time limit, I cannot do so in this video. Next up for the developer workshop post, we had Riven Changes Part 2 by DE Connor. Now, this post outlines that disposition changes will be coming to Rivens every 3 months alongside Prime Access, and that in the foreseeable future, Arc Gun Rivens will be introduced into the game and will only be accessible via the arbitration storefront for Vitus Essence. They cannot be earned via sorties. Connor also outlined the protocols for the changes, so the dispositions cannot be changed by more than 1 pip at a time. Only changes of a high enough magnitude will be implemented. If the numbers are close enough to the desired power level, they will leave it be, and DE will inform Riven owners that disposition changes have occurred via an in-game message, and Melee Rivens will not be adjusted until the completion of Melee 3.0. DE Connor also outlined that Riven Disposition Changes will now be based on an internal ranking system of weapon power levels that will be referred to in addition to usage stats to find the final numbers. He also commented that they are continuing to make plans to return Sentinel Rivens to the game. Next up, they announced the date for Devstream 124, which will go live on the 1st of March. The Saske also commented on a post reporting an exploit with macros and Magus Revert and Lockdown. His comment on the exploit follows. Hey Tenno, thank you for the report. We are looking into the interaction between Magus Revert and Magus Lockdown. The more prominent issue with this exploit is the use and abuse of a macro enabling you to void dash an unrealistic amount of times, which otherwise wouldn't humanly be possible and not condoned. On to the next one, Nintendo Switch Plays Fortuna Part 2, The Profit Taker, has been sent in for certification for you guys, so look forward to that soon. A player on Reddit also saw a response by DE Rebecca on a post titled, What if arbitrations were shorter but faster? In Rebecca's response, she states the following. This type of discussion is probably the most important for Warframe this year. Specifically, so you just stand there and spam your powers or shoot your massively OP gun of ultimate destruction. Because the more you play Warframe, the more this becomes the game and norm. Arbitrations are just Warframe but with higher stakes, and unfortunately we haven't increased or changed quickly enough, but we will be tweaking them, but it won't change the power level of your gear. Given the dozens of comments in this thread that are kind of orbiting the but we're so powerful conversation, continuing down that path in the context of power versus challenge will be helpful as we build towards releasing things this year. And a player in response asked that DE be careful about the challenge versus power changes, in which Rebecca responded absolutely. The final Reddit response was to someone asking if the developers had commented on waypoints not working properly, in which Rebecca responded stating that it's a hard problem to solve, but they are working on it. As for developer tweets, in response to a question about rebinding the finisher attack button, Steve commented that he will think on it and that they do have a plan on reworking finishers. As mentioned earlier in this episode, DE are working on new rendering tech and sun shadows. DE Steve tweeted 3 photos of the Orb Valis with this new work in progress tech with the following captions. Haven't shared any work in progress on the new rendering tech upgrades for this year, so check this out. Finally, proper real-time sun shadows. No timeline for release just yet. Will be optional for low spec. It looks amazing. For your information, at the moment, Valis and Plains outdoor maps use a pre-calculated solution called Aperture Light Maps. You store a visibility cone which approximates sun shadows for all times of the day, extremely fast but cannot yield detailed, sharp shadows like this. In reply to a message by another player, Steve said that these upgrades will apply to Cetus and the Plains of Eidolon as well. Steve also replied to Headshot, stating that the new shadow tech will be real-time on all static and dynamic objects. He also replied to a few technical questions on top of that. Now the next day, Steve released more photos of the shadow tech with a comparison of the current version and the updated tech with the following caption. We totally didn't screw up landscape surface shading, normals and release it, and not really notice until last night. 4 lines of map equals visual upgrade, coming next hotfix, fuck my life. And he also provided a screen grab from the Plains of Eidolon visual update and a clip showing off the work in progress renderer with the comments that he hopes to ship it in summer or fall. On top of the caption for the screenshot, he said the following. Sorry for the spam, but I'm geeking out seeing real-time sun shadow prototype in Warframe. Feels like a serious leap, and it's only going to get better. The way this scales is really cool, blending out to our old aperture light maps at range so you can pick real-time performance trade-off. Steve said that on top of the visual update, the Plains of Eidolon will receive new content, quality of life improvements that Fortuna received, such as the bounty vendors inside the Plains of Eidolon, and that the visual changes mentioned will eventually come to the interior levels of Warframe. Continuing with comments, Steve said that he can't remove the ribbon cap for database reasons, something we've known since their inception, but he did comment that he'll check on increasing the limits. And the final comment from Steve is in response to players asking for the removal of RNG-related breeding to Kubrals and Kavats, in which he responded we will get to it. And someone adding onto that the freezer and degeneration should be changed or removed so that players can switch easily between their companions. Anyway, to end the tweet section of this video, there were numerous replies by Steve with technical-based responses, so if you are interested in those responses and the information with it, the links will be in the description down below, as well as everything else that I mentioned today. That concludes this episode of Last Week in Warframe. If you found the video informative, make sure to leave a like, and if you think I can improve upon the series in any way, shape or form, make sure to leave it in the comments section down below. Glyphs for the channel are up on the screen right now. You can chuck those into the promo code section on the Warframe website, and you get the channel icon as a glyph in-game. Anyway, if you missed out on last week's episode, make sure to click the annotation on the screen right now. It'll take you right to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.